It's called love. You accept. Sometimes you gotta accept what comes with it. You gotta accept the ups and the downs, and you gotta know how to toughen up and just keep it pushing. But that's the hard part about being a man. Man, being a man is harder than being black. That's crazy. Wow.
If you had
It's your boy Savant 20, man. This topic is from It's Complicated YouTube, or should I say It's Complicated channel. It's the topic is about, is it harder being black? Now, being the black man who lived for 33 years, I'll say yeah, being black does have its challenges. Obviously every other race does too, but since I'm black, I had to think about the black challenges because this is a challenge that I face pretty much every day, one way or another. I'm not saying every day is hard, but it's still me living as a black man. So let's see what this video is about.
to choose just one, would you say it's harder being black or harder being a man?
I'll say it's harder being black because you got to deal with like the justice system. You got to deal with like racism. You got to deal with a lot of shit.
I'd say it's harder being black
Why?
because as a man, you still serve the patriarchy. So regardless of being black or white, you're still a man first, and men protect men. And in America, we are under a patriarchy.
Being a man itself, you face a lot of prejudice. There's a lot of rules that you have to conform to, and a lot of that stuff going on. But being a black man is something that people look at you differently.
When you, I'll say, being a black man is harder, only because there's this history with the black man, you know. Um Especially in America, there's the history of slavery, there's a history of segregation. So I I feel like now we live in a time where diversity is better now in a lot of ways, but I also feel like there are some like here and there challenges I think black people still have to go through, and I think that's mainly because of the history and because we're black. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's everything, and I'm not gonna sit here and say it's a lot like it used to be. It's not. It's better now, way better, but there are still trials to go through, and like not too long ago, the Black Lives Movement, which was about police brutality, I would say, although if it does affects a lot of people other than the black community, but I would also say the black community is kind of painted with a different brush than other communities when it comes to like crime and when it comes to like police brutality.
Grow up black, your parents teach you no matter what you do or no matter who you're hanging out with, friends of different colors and races, that at the end of the day, you're black and you're looked at differently.
Can you think of a situation where being a man made life significantly harder?
Well, of course, every day, man, we're loved on the pretense of what we can provide. So, yes, every day in life is hard. We have high standards of us being a man in society.
I want to be a teacher.
My bad. I just wanted to see what he has to say. But uh yeah, being a man in society is tough. Especially nowadays in 2026. It's getting harder by the years as far we go, because men always have to provide, always have to protect, and we always have that above our heads. On top of that, um we are not allowed to be delusional in a lot of ways. I feel like I feel like society does like put us in a bubble, but I also feel like female has that other bubble within society, and I don't think men have that bubble. We can't be delusional. We have to be realistic at all times because how the world um not only view us, but like how it holds us to that reality. Whatever you whatever you think as a guy in society is always going to be held within that reality of the society. It won't be like my own perception or my own um like a delusional state of mind when it comes to the reality. Like whatever a man's supposed to be in reality of the society, that's the life that we literally have to live. So we can't live a life that's like I feel like this, like for example, right? Some women will go and hit a man and they don't feel like a man should hit them back because they are a woman, right? That's not reality. That's honestly that's just pure delusion. You hit anybody and that person could hit you back. That's a reality that guy has to face every day. If I choose to put hands on someone, that person could choose to hit me back. So that's basically what I was trying to say. We have to live within that reality every day, but I don't feel like the women have to. There's a lot of more I could say, um, but that was just one that popped up to my head.
Sure, that's my biggest profession, and being a man in the teaching profession is one of the hardest things to do because there is a whole stigma with people being weird around kids, especially men.
Can you think of a situation where being black
You know the funny thing about that, I feel like a lot of female teachers are more prone to be like having those relationship with kids, if you know what I mean, than the males. You hear it now more than before. Like it's always like if a news come out that a teacher and a student was having relations, it would be a female most likely nowadays. Like I don't know if I'm tripping, but every time I hear about it right now, I haven't. I always remember the last time I heard that was a male teacher doing it, but I heard a lot of female teachers doing it. Like I think there was one where she was like having multiple kids and doing it with them. I just heard one not too long ago. I think O'Shea Du Jackson covered it and he was talking about it. She got shot by a 17-year-old and she hid him from the police. I look, man. I feel like now it's either it's nowadays or it's been like that. I feel like it's the woman teachers that kind of have those relations with the kids.
made life significantly harder?
Yes, every day in America, you deal with racism, whether it's overtly or covertly.
Just moving around everyday life, grocery shopping. Sometimes I'll have people watch extra harder to make sure I don't pocket something. At a convenience
Right,
store, I'll
right.
say a white person will walk in with a backpack. I walk in and I have to put my backpack at the front.
Walking up the block, people
I haven't had
still
those.
clutching their purses, clutching their pearls and whatnot.
Yeah, I had this. I think white lady. I was walking near her, boy. The way she pulled her purse, boy, it looked like I was lunging for that thing, boy. Like the way she just yanked it and put it to her side, you would think I lunged for it. I was just walking normally, and she was just walking by side, and she just yanked it. Like you would think I was trying to get her purse for real.
Growing up, what expectations did people place on you simply because you were male?
I know this is a bit of a controversial take, but being a provider.
Providing, leading, thinking.
That you're supposed to be super tough and not show a lot of emotions.
Were those expectations different from the expectations placed on you because you were black?
No,
Why?
that's what comes with the race.
Be tough, don't cry, and then serve your wife. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, but I feel like happy wife, happy life is something that the feminists are pushing. I don't think it's something that society push it too, especially now. But I don't think it was like that the whole time. I think it's mostly a feminist point of view, because there was a point in time where both sides, the man and the woman, had to serve the family in some way. So the man had to serve by going to work, the woman had to serve by cooking and cleaning, and they both had to serve the kids, right? By providing for the kids and having a lifestyle for the kids. All right. So I would think the happy wife, happy life, I think it came when feminism came to be.
Go out there and get money and just provide, be a provider, and like no man is accepted unless he can provide. Like no man is accepted unless he can provide.
If you fail financially, which do you think society judges more? Your race or the fact that you're male?
Both, but I lean a little more towards being black, that it costs a little more pressure just for the stigma we have.
What stigma?
Stereotypes, being ghetto, lazy.
And then serve your wife. Happy wife, happy life.
Have to go out there and get money and just provide, be a provider, and like no man is accepted unless he can provide.
If you fail financially, which do you think society judges more? Your race or the fact that you're male?
Both, but I lean a little more towards being black, that it costs a little more pressure just for the stigma we have.
What stigma?
Stereotypes, being ghetto, lazy, not putting in the work ethic.
Because we already fit the stereotype that we're lazy and that we don't want things. And I think that's a false representation of who we are, honestly.
Men are supposed to be the providers, and we need to have all of the money or whatever. So if you don't have any money, you have failed as a man.
They'll look at a black man and be like, oh yeah, of course you couldn't provide. Section 8 person, like it's always stuff like that. They'll find the sly remarks to fit in for whatever race. And it doesn't even just have to be black people. I'm not just focusing on black people, it's for everybody too. White people have this certain mindset that if it's not white, it's not right. So it's hard. It's all it is. It's just hard.
Who do you think society...
Yeah, because you have all this stigma as a guy, and you also have all the stigma as a black person. So combine both of those things. It's a hard life. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, things are getting better with the race thing, but it's not gone yet, and I don't think it'll ever be gone. But yeah, this is what makes it hard, is because there's stigma on both sides.
has more sympathy for? Black men, black women, or men in general?
I think society.
Black men. I think men in general have a lot, like, there's a lot of weight on men's shoulder in society, right? But because there's stigma on both sides, I think black men has the most to deal with, because they have the problems to deal with as a man and as a black person in this society. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta deal with so much stuff that has to do on both sides of the spectrum, and we can't be delusional about it.
Society has more sympathy for women in general, no matter the race. They always have compassion for them and kind of let them get away with a lot more in society.
In my personal take,
men in general.
I think so.
Not white, it's not right. So it's hard.
I think society has more sympathy for women in general, no matter the race.
Who do you think society has more sympathy for? Black men, black women, or men in general?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't hear the question right. You're talking about who they have more sympathy for. Oh, woman. I tell you, the society has a bubble. So the people in society live in a bubble because we don't live like off the land and stuff like that, for example. But women have an additional bubble in society. They can be delusional. They could live their life in a delusional state. But a guy, especially a black guy, cannot live life in a delusional state. You know what I'm saying? We can't be delusional. We have to be realistic, and we have to live life that way. So there's a lot that we have to, like the weight on our shoulders, we can't imagine that that's gone. And we cannot live life as if it's gone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying females don't go through anything. I'm just saying females are also allowed to be delusional about what they're going through or not. Right? And because of the stigma, not stigma, but like there's certain things that we grew up like learning as guys, like holding the doors, being polite. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, a female could hit a guy and expect not to get hit in the same process, but a guy hit a guy, he expects to get hit back. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the reality that we have to live, and that's the delusion that they live. They think just because they're female, they're allowed to hit you, but you're not allowed to hit them. And to me, that's just delusional.
I think society has more sympathy for women in general, no matter the race. They always have
But society
compassion
will
for
back
them
it.
and kind of let them get away with a lot more in society.
In my personal take, none of those three. And honestly, black women, in my opinion, have it the worst because not only do women on their own face a lot of prejudice and a lot of expectations, but black women, they face even more prejudice and more expectations than in my personal opinion, a black man could.
Oftentimes, black men are not seen as human beings. They're seen.
But the difference is a black woman can turn around and, like I said, be delusional. Like, for example, a black woman can put herself in a certain situation to be a single mother or to be someone who has to be strong, be independent. But they can also label themselves as strong, independent, and I don't need nobody. And everybody is showing sympathy for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with abortion. A woman could abort. She could choose whether to keep the child or not, but the guy who she has it with don't really get a choice. Unless he skips town or whatever, or he finds a good woman who's not going to put him on child support. Other than that, if the court know that that's his, and even if it's not yours, and you sign the birth certificate, you're still reliable. You know what I'm saying? But a woman, she could decide not to and then say, that's my body, my choice. But a man can't say, that's my wallet, my choice. You know what I'm saying? In society, you just gonna have to pay.
Seen as objects, I want to say. Sometimes they're strong, some of them are strong, tall, black. It just looks like they can take a lot more criticism, a lot more pain, a lot more than what you would look at a smaller person or another person. A person that's not black, you will look at them and have pity and say, oh, look at them. But as opposed to a black man, you go, well, look at him. He's so strong. He can take this. This is not going to bother him. He doesn't have any emotions or feelings. We can say whatever. He's fine. He's a strong black man.
If a black man says he's struggling emotionally, how do people usually react?
And they don't care. It's just a system.
Do you think society expects black men to be especially tough?
Absolutely. We're strong naturally, emotionally, mentally, physically, and so society expects that out of black men. Absolutely.
What's the difference between telling a black man you ain't black enough and telling a man you ain't man enough?
Well, see, telling a man he's not black enough comes with culture. Telling a man he's not man enough comes with just gender roles. So it's like, if you're telling a man he's not man enough, do you mean culturally or do you mean like gender roles? And if he's a
I think if you say a black man is not black enough, you're an idiot. Because what does that mean? You know, black is like it's kind of subjective, because what makes black black besides you literally being black? There's different type of black people. There are black people that lives in the hood. There's black people who lives in the suburbs. There's black educated people. There's black people who's not educated or not as educated. So it's subjective to who you're talking to, but it doesn't make you black or not. And you could be like dove into your culture, or dove into the pop like culture version of your culture. Like if you say, what's the movie Friday, who's in the movie Friday, and you get that right, it doesn't mean you're more black than somebody who don't know what movie Friday is. You can't tell me just because he don't know that, but he knows the culture or the history behind black history in America. You can't tell me just because he don't know the movie Friday, he's not black enough. That's pretty stupid. But when you tell the guy he's not man enough, you're just challenging his manhood, basically.
black man, it could be both.
I think telling a black man he's not black enough is he's not representing his culture the way he should. And that's what we got to remember. We have culture and we need to dwell in it, and we need to.
But like I said before, that's subjective. You know what I'm saying? Different type of black people in the society. It depends on how they grown or how they was raised also. They could put out the culture in different ways, and it doesn't make you less or more black.
Express it to the fullest. Telling a man he's not man enough is telling him that he's not strong enough as a man with his, male abilities, his testosterone, to handle the situation or scenario or problem at hand. So it's a slight difference.
Do you think people are more comfortable talking about racism than talking about the problems affecting men?
Yes, because they're expecting men to be okay with it. They expect men.
Yeah, exactly. Men shouldn't have a problem with the weight of the world. Basically, some people don't even know that men go through things. If they don't have a guy that they're around like for a good amount of time, they are like baffled that guys go through things, because guys don't normally talk about it. And we're the reason why we don't talk about it is not because we don't want to, it's because we are looked a certain way if we do. That's why the term "you're not man enough" is like, if I had any kind of like problem with what I'm supposed to do in society, or is looked at as what I'm supposed to do, then I'm not man enough because I'm not doing it, or I have a problem with doing it. So with that, it caused people to not really talk about these things, and with that, it caused people to think that there's no problem. You know what I'm saying?
And to just deal with it. So it's out of sight, out of mind for people. But race is a more apparent thing, because you can walk down the street and literally see the disdain a person has for another person of a race just by the way they look at them.
Because society don't really care about issues. Society cares about history somewhat, but when it comes to being a man, it's like you get taught to like toughen up, don't talk about it, and keep it pushing.
And so it's
society care about men when it comes to defending society, when it comes to keeping society running. then society do care about men. But when it comes to anything else, they don't.
More comfortable for us to speak about race, and it's less comfortable for us to speak about sex, because if you complain as a man, you're looked at as feminine. If you complain as a man, it's your fault. You're supposed to take responsibility. And if you try to get a woman to take any accountability for what she's doing, then good luck.
Why are people more concerned with racism when sexism affects more of the population?
It's more shown upon by like the government about racism and stuff like that.
Why is non-blatant racism often exaggerated, while blatant sexism of men is often ignored and made fun of?
Society is run by a lot of women, and men don't get enough love. That's why.
Nah, society is not run by women. The society is run by men, but men always cuddle to women. Anyway, yeah, so society is run by men, but men always cuddle to women. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like society was built to protect women and children, but it was built by men and controlled by men in order to protect women and children and keep society going and prospering. But when it further go down and feminism comes to play, feminism is teaching people to hate men. And like I said, even though the men have the power, they are doing it for the best interests of women and children. So when you have women like pushing this narrative, the same thing's gonna happen with the government. The government is also gonna push that narrative too. When it comes to even before feminism in a way, because we don't have an era where women were going to war and men were staying home. We always have a era where the guys are being sent to war, right? To die for the society, to die for the woman, to die for the children. And I wouldn't say that shows that they don't care, but I would say that it shows that men were always pushed to do these things. And now we are still pushed to do those things, but we doing it for like women who don't really see the benefits of having men around. And we're doing it for children who's being raised by women who don't see the benefits of having men around. So now we're kind of doing it for basically no reason, right? Besides like defending society, obviously, we're not really getting the true benefits of dying or putting ourselves on the line for the society anymore. But I forgot the question. Sorry.
Suck it up, deal with it, and be okay with it. You know, literally one of the most common men phrases you'll see on social media is "it is what it is." So it's like that alone is saying that no matter what happens to me, I just have to be okay and keep it pushing. But with racism, that's not something society has put in history to be okay with. You have slavery. That wasn't okay. Slaves got freed. You have street-to-street random pedestrian racism. You have other people sticking up for them. Someone calls you the N-word. You got a group of people standing up for you. So it's like people react differently. And when people see that reaction, they start to play follow the leader.
We went through the civil rights movement, and I don't think there's been like a man rights movement. There hasn't been like a masculine movement where it's like, yeah, we're gonna.
There haven't even been a protest. There haven't been any type of movement that we have had just for men. It haven't been there. It's been there's been for women and for children, but not for the men. Nah, not really. unless like you're doing something like maybe you're a police officer or you're from the army, and that could be either or. That could be either gender, but not for the men. Only for the men.
You know, empower men and come together as men.
Besides the manosphere, which is like YouTube, basically.
And have each other's back and to support each other. Like, we haven't really rallied together like that as men in our society yet. But I do think black people have that experience more often. And I think men would benefit from coming together more and rallying together, like the LGBTQ community or like any of these other communities, like, you know, Black Lives Matter. It should be Men Lives Matter as well, you know?
If judging a black
The thing is, the society, women have to also agree to that for it to be like saying that won't be demonized, because even the manosphere, like I said before, is like the only thing that kind of does that, and they are there was even a documentary like basically trying to paint manosphere in the with a like a wrong brush to make it seem like they doing like all these like bad things. Meanwhile, feminism is literally telling women to hate men.
man as a potential thief based solely on his race is considered prejudice, why isn't judging an unfamiliar man as a potential predator based solely on his sex also a form of prejudice?
I feel like people have this prejudice and stereotype of us because of what they've been indoctrinated and taught about black people.
It's a form of prejudice because you don't even know this individual's character. You're just basing your belief and you're making a snap judgment of a person based on their biology and not based on their character as a person. And that's not fair. And that's why it's harder to be a man, because you can walk up to a girl with a completely different agenda. You could be literally telling her, hey, something's on you. And they're going to automatically assume that you're trying to hit on them and hook up with them.
Why are crime statistics about men considered acceptable, but crime statistics about black people are considered racist?
Probably due to the stigma of that thin line of being racist and prejudice. Being black, you already have a background of things that follow you, you know?
Because the first thing they always think about us is we're going to do something violent or something.
I think the difference is black people have a messed up history with the society. So people, when it comes to like black people, when it comes to, you know, like the race wise, they are more prone to tiptoe around the subject, tiptoe around the situation. But men don't really have that. There's nothing in history that proves or shows that men had that kind of reach. Even though like men will be kings and, you know, knights and have this like status, it never showed that men had that backing with society. Society always, one way or another, kind of exploited men. if you don't believe that, just pretty much look into society. I'm reading the Bible right now, and even in there, I see like kings are dying on the battlefield. Meanwhile, their wives and their children is at home, unless the children is old enough to be on the battlefield. They home. So men were always chosen to go and fight and basically hold the weight of the society. It was always like that. The difference now is that we're doing it for people who basically are not showing any form of love back. so all that life being risked is kind of for no reason, to a point. We're doing it for people to turn around and talk about patriarchy and turn around and talk about we don't need a man. So that's why I feel like nowadays a lot of guys is kind of stepping down from being I guess the men that society had put up that we should be. A lot of us is not doing that no more because it's like, why?
That's not gonna help us look like generalized of the population.
If men get much longer prison sentences than women for similar crimes, why isn't that talked about as much as racial sentencing disparities?
Because they love women and they'll brush past everything.
When it comes
Yeah,
to
that's-
men
that's
getting harsher
crazy, though.
sentences than women because men are seen as stronger beings. And so there's no way this little woman did this crime. Of course, this big, strong man did this. So we're going to.
Nah, that don't even sound right. Even if that was to be true, I don't think they don't think women are able to do the crime. I think that is just that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? For the similar crimes, the guys will get more of the punishment because that's how it goes. I don't think it's because the guys are seen to be stronger and the women are seen to be weaker. That has nothing to do with a crime, right? If a crime is being done, if you shoot somebody, doesn't matter how strong you are or how weak you are to pull the trigger and shoot somebody and have the intent to shoot somebody. So you can't tell me that has to do with physical strength. So the way the society goes or the way it is when it comes to that, it's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Messed up, but you know.
give a little bit more leniency to the woman because she's so small and I am a woman. Sometimes we can, oh my God, help me. We can be damsel in distresses. So men are looked at as strong and macho. So of course he did that. No way that small woman did that. So we're going to go a little bit more hard. I mean, a little softer on her.
Because of the cultural climate, for some reason, men are villainized. Just by having a penis, you're looked at as a bad guy. But when you're a woman, you're looked at as a victim. You're not looked at as a villain. So the society we live in and the system that runs our society, it caters to women because it sees them as victims. And it doesn't see men as victims. It sees men as, the people who did this to themselves, or if they wanted a different situation, they could make it happen and pull their bootstraps up and get to work. But if a woman falls into any similar category as a man, she's given an easy out. She's given assistance and help.
Do you think?
Right. So, yeah, the society, the way they are towards women, it's basically that's how it goes, right? And it kind of caused women to be more entitled, and truthfully, it messed up the society. The society we're in right now, that is happening now. Like there's a rise in single mothers, there's a rise in divorces. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I would say it's because of feminism, and it doesn't really help society. It's actually causing it to go in ruin.
Men's struggles are taken as seriously as racial struggles.
No. Because if you look at the statistics for the men's suicide rates, that's something that just has not changed over time. And you'll see on Men's Mental Health Month, there's multiple posts, multiple people saying that it really just does not matter. So it's like, there's no change.
Why does racism usually receive empathy and reform, while sexism against men is often met with man up?
I think the sympathy that black people or melanated people receive is because of the history of this country and the marginalization and, the unfair treatment that African Americans or, any minority group has received.
I think it's because, yeah, like you said, the history. And the history, not only that we were, African Americans were given a wrong hand, like wrong set of cards, but they also fought and strive to change that. And I feel like I said, this go back way back. It's not something that's going on now. It's just that back then there were more benefits to doing it. Back then, like putting yourself, your life on the line for society, for the woman, for the children. There were more benefits that came with it. Now it's not, and that's the only thing that changed. That now is there's no benefit to be the man that society wants to portray you to be. You know, like there is like, and I'm not talking about being a gentleman, by the way. I'm talking about like putting your life on the line for the woman. Now you're more selective. Now you're more what's that word? You're choosing who you're doing it for. You might do it for your wife, your family members, but you're not gonna do it for no regular civilian. You know, majority of the times nowadays, because now it's like, why should I? You know, because 9 times out of 10, this person probably don't even like me because I'm a man. So yeah, it's actually it's hurting the society more than it's helping. And I think if guys was to rally like how black people rally and be like, look, we're not gonna do X, Y, and Z anymore, society would actually go in ruin. It would basically be destroyed. And I think that's some guys are doing it now because you see a lot of TikToks and a lot of content where women are coming out and saying, like, look, men are not doing X, Y, and Z no more. And that's because men don't see a reason to do it no more. Especially because the hookup culture also. It's very easy to be sleeping around. Now no guy want to even get married anymore because the marriage, the divorce rate is getting high and women are divorcing at a high rate. So it's like, why get married if I could just mess around? You know what I'm saying? Why do certain things anymore if you're not going to give me anything in return? So it really messed up the dynamic between man and woman. Especially like that's why the dating scene is messed up.
But I don't think we talk about men in that same way just because it's harder to point the finger at anybody else but men. With black people, we can point the finger at white men or society as a whole. It's just harder to point the finger at women and complain about the way that society is and the way it's set up. So it's just a lot easier to point the finger at men because we've been in power for so long.
When society talks about discrimination, do you think race gets more attention than gender?
Yes. Nowadays, race gets more attention because everybody likes to have their cell phones and want to film everything.
Do you think men's struggles are taken as seriously as racial struggles?
No, they think we're just the strongest human beings in the world, but we all got problems.
Wouldn't that mean that it's harder being a man than harder being black?
Yeah, kind of.
Being a heterosexual man specifically is more tough than being black. There are very little benefits to being a man. It's much more difficult.
Being a man is something you can control. That's something you can become through life experiences. Being black isn't. That's something you're born with. So that's why I feel like it's a little different.
You're born with both of them. You're born being a man too. And those responsibilities, it starts when you're a boy. It doesn't start when you turn into a man. You also get them when you're a boy too.
If you woke up tomorrow as a white man, what problems would disappear?
Judgment off the base of my skin. I won't be judged off just walking down the block and being pulled over. Oh, why are you walking around in this neighborhood?
Everything. Everything. Wake up tomorrow as a white man, you're waking up with a 700 credit score. This is my person. 700 credit score. You could walk into the store and blame it on black people.
What new problems might appear?
What problems might appear? My lack for rhythm. I don't know. I'm a very musical guy, and I feel like that comes with having soul. Not comes with being a black person. You don't have to be a black person to love music, but you do got to have some soul to be able to catch a beat.
If you woke up tomorrow as a black woman, would your life be easier or harder?
Oh, way harder. Way harder. Because as a man, the biggest thing, I don't got to deal with menstrual cycles. That's like the number one thing for me is like I see all of my female friends walk around or my women friends walk around and they got menstrual cycles. I'm like, dang, that's tough.
Yeah.
But
do you think being a black woman comes with more support from society than being a black man?
Yes.
Yes, because you're a woman. So being a woman in general, you would get more support, but just not much more support because, again, you're...
Not only that, black women, their strength is a form of empowerment. Our strength as black men is a reason why we shouldn't complain. You see the difference? Their strength, which most of the times I'll feel like they put it on themselves. It's more like, oh, you're able to overcome this, that, and third. But man, strength, or black man's strength, is more like you shouldn't be complaining because you're so strong. And that's the difference. And that's why I think it would be easier for a black woman than it is for a black man. Because they could promote that strength as empowerment. They could promote being independent. You see, a guy is independent is like, duh, you're supposed to be. You're supposed to have your own car, your own crib. You're not supposed to have a roommate. You're not supposed to be with your mother still at a certain age. But for the woman, it's different. She could be independent while living with her mom. She could be independent while having a roommate. She could be independent while depending on her spouse. So it's a difference between them.
Still a part of a race that a majority of people don't like or respect.
A lot of people think that black women are the least protected people in society, but I can't tell you how many black women call the police. They take black men to court, put them on child support. So they have a means of getting what they want.
Right.
But in the same vein, like, who's going to protect the black man? Who's going to actually come to our aid and see us as somebody who needs support? They don't see it that way. They see men as people who should support themselves and women as people who are victims and should be helped and assisted by the government.
Again, strong black woman. I don't know why that is the moniker. We are all not strong. I am weak. I am fragile. I get emotional. I cry. I break down. I can't handle it day to day. We are all not strong. We can't handle all of this.
Why are so many black women saying that they're strong and independent and don't need a man then?
Because we have to. It's been ingrained in us. It's a defense mechanism. We need men. We need love.
No, you don't have to. You just do it. Right? You make these choices, which in turn will give you a hard life. like I said about the divorce rates, right? You gonna divorce a guy and it's all the way at 70, I think, if it's regular, 90 if you're college educated. If you have a better job, I think it's even higher. So it's like you're putting yourself in a bad situation just to turn around and say, I have to do this. I have to be strong. I have to do this. But guys, they like good situation, bad situation. You have to be able to handle it no matter what.
We need support.
Emotional support. If you've seen a black woman sitting crying on the street, you'd be more likely to help her because she's a woman versus if you've seen a black man sitting and crying on the street because he's a big scary black man and you feel like he's going to rob you. That's what I feel like that is.
Why
That's
are
great.
men more likely to accept inequality when it comes to gender, but not when it comes to race?
Because we have been indoctrinated for so long.
Because that's the way society was built. It was built on men being the backbone of society, right? It was built where the men were in the armies, men were the ones who were doing the hard works. That's how society was literally built. So that's the difference. Society was built on the backs of men, but the thing is, men were having benefits of that before. As the years go by, especially after feminism, men stop having that benefit, but they still are being called to be the backbone of society.
That if you upset a woman, there's something wrong with you. If you don't give her what she wants or meet her needs, there's something wrong with you.
You can't talk bad about women. You say anything bad about a woman, people think you're weird, or just out of line, or somebody's gonna fight you. It doesn't matter what you say about a woman. You can't bash a woman in this society nowadays.
Right.
How do you fight your oppression when you're in love with your oppressor?
You can't live with women. You can't live without women. We love them to death, but
Just don't be with a feminist. There's a lot of women that's not feminists. And I think the problem is not women, it's actually feminism. So that's what you do. Just choose wisely.
they are the oppressor, and they want to try to equal men and want equality in one breath, but then in another breath they want to be forgiven and excluded from accountability. So you can't have both ways.
You cannot fight oppression if you're in love with your oppressor. It's impossible to do. And I think that's the Stockholm syndrome that a lot of melanated people in America are going through. We've fallen in love with our oppressors, with the violence, with the materialism, with the deception that's been given to us in this country. And so it's almost impossible for us to become free because we're in love with our chains.
If black and white people deserve equal rights despite biological differences, why do so many reject the idea that men and women deserve equal rights because they're biologically different?
Because people don't let go of the past. They don't let go of history. Don't get me wrong. It's 400 years of like slavery and everything, 400 years of being in the system, but the system never changed. It just got changed. You know what I'm saying? It just got changed the way the system works. So that's why they don't care.
As far as the equality between genders, it really sucks because we all gotta live, we all gotta eat, we all really want the same thing. We want to live nice, we want to live, luxurious. We want nice cars, nice houses, and nice women. So the women get that pass because of their beauty.
If there was some unwritten rule that black people had to open the door or give up their seat, would that be racist?
Well, yeah. Isn't that what Rosa Parks fought for?
So why is it when that same unwritten rule is applied to men, it's not sexist?
Because again, there's certain things that there's certain things men have to conform to and just get over with, and
It's because men was raised that way. There's a lot of single mothers out there. There's a lot. The system is kind of pushing guys away from families and pushing nuclear families away. So it's like mostly single mothers raising the children, and they will always raise the sons to be a certain type of guy to fit in society. But they would not really train their daughters to kind of be to not be a feminist, basically, in some way, shape, or form, depending on the mother. But most of the times, these type of ideal, it passed down to the daughters, and the daughters will grow up saying the same thing the mothers say, even if they haven't experienced the men, like for real. They would keep spewing the same thing, and the guys would just have to take it the guys we're not raised to revolt. So, but slowly but surely it's happening, and you can see it happening because more and more females are losing their power, and actually it's actually their fault, but they're losing the grip that they once had, and that's because men are realizing there's no more benefit in um, risking your life or sacrificing for society and for the woman. So yeah, that's how it is. But I'm gonna stop on this. I'm gonna stop right here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you like this video. If you like the original video, go to its complicated page and like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one, man.